Welcome to the Sheffield Sunday As Bill Sees It's meeting. This is a main share meeting, and today it is with great pleasure and much gratitude that we welcome Jacqui V from Louisiana, who's come to share for about 40 minutes, after which we'll open up for general sharing or if you'd like to ask Jacqui a question. So yeah, thank you, Jacqui. It's wonderful to have you here. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Sammy, and thank you for the invite. I am Jacqui. I'm an alcoholic. I am so grateful to be here today. I chose this when I was trying to choose. Young asked me to choose a page to share, and when I was trying to choose, the first thing that came to mind was gratitude. And the reason I said, oh, that'll be easy. I can talk about gratitude. I can identify with Bill in this. This is going to be a piece of cake. And I was talking to another friend and said I was cheating because I live today in such gratitude. So I was cheating. She goes, cheating? You were cheating? And I said, yeah, I just picked what I thought was an easy topic. And then I had an opportunity to go back and really look at this journey of gratitude. And I liken this journey of gratitude to the miracle that happens when the obsession of liquor is lifted. In my journey in this program, the miracle of gratitude came from very simple beginnings, doing certain things. So again, I'll tell you, I'd like to, before I start, invite our collective higher power into our meeting. Bill talked about being disconnected from his fellows. And what's so beautiful about Alcoholics Anonymous is that we bring our collective higher power into this room. So if I can ask you to just bow your head for a second and join me in spirit. God, I ask you to provide me the right words, give me the right thoughts, the right actions. Help me set aside everything I think I know. Everything I think I know about what's coming out of my mouth, everything I think I know about my recovery, everything I think I know about this journey to you, with you, and for you. Help me see the truth. Help me have a new experience with an open mind, knowing nothing with an open mind. And with that, I say, amen. Thank you for joining me on that. It just, when we talk about this as a we program, it's not only we, but for me, I'm functioning as a we, getting as close as I can from my thinking, my ego, to God consciousness, right? And so I sit him right next to me as I kind of go into this. So I picked this topic. The first thing I saw was leader. I saw myself as a leader. Bill saw himself as a leader. And before coming into this program, I was a senior vice president and general manager of a large corporation, and I was, as someone would say, such a much. They called me Little Oprah. I thought I was all that in a bag of chips. And they would laud me, and I would go to events, and I'd be an MC, and I'd do all these things, and I really believed that I had done, and they lauded me because I had, came through. I beat the odds. I beat the odds of domestic violence. I beat the odds of alcoholism in my life. I beat the odds of being in foster homes and group homes and being abused physically, emotionally. You can imagine. I beat those odds, and now here I was, this executive, and so I had a story. And before coming into AA, that story, that gratitude that I experienced, I thought it was me. That self-satisfaction. I thought I did all that, right? Darn right I overcame. And I was grateful. I was grateful for the fun things that happened, grateful that I met my husband, grateful that I, adopted my children at a later age in my life. I was grateful for those things. But I was grateful from the outside in, because there was this self-satisfaction that I did it, not that it was something given to me, In early sobriety, gratitude became transactional. It became transactional, conditional, and fragile. Transactional. I was asked to do a gratitude list, and I did it because I was told to. I had to, okay, you tell me, I'll do it. Conditional, it was, I was grateful for when things went my way. When I saw, I was on the pink cloud and I saw the first midnight sky, I was grateful that I saw those things. And again, from the outside in, all those things were happening. My gratitude was coming from seeing what was going on, not being what was happening within. So, as I look at this journey into a deeper relationship with my higher power, and as I said earlier, I can't tell you exactly where the gratitude shifted from something I deserved to something I was given. It was perhaps the prayers and doing those things. It was perhaps this giving back. It was perhaps the recognition that something greater than I really had control. The plan was already put in its place. There's something I say always. I ask God to take away any divine energy that's not mine to have in heaven, and to replace it with the divine energy and the divine plan He has in place. And there's that has come in this particular journey. Now, when I look at self-satisfaction, as Bill was talking about, instead of being grateful for the pain, instead of being grateful for the journey, the self-satisfaction was indeed something I believed, and I embraced, and I accepted that it was all me, and that was my ego, right? My ego said, "Go ahead, girl, you did this. You overcame this." And then it evolved. It evolved into, being a deepening gratitude. I guess that's what I'll call it, a deepening gratitude. It was no longer superfluous. It was no longer on the surface. It was, I didn't get here by myself. I didn't get to I used to think gratitude was positivity. Oh, just be grateful, girl, that didn't happen, and be grateful, girl, that, he didn't do this, and, oh, look at the bright side of things. That was an actor. That was that simple agent was an actor, right? I was grateful, and I thought I needed to be positive, and I needed to show up with the armor of positivity. And then as I grew and got closer and realized that I was trying to have my will become closer and mesh with God's will. I have someone who says all the time, 1 + 1 = 1. And when I first heard that, I thought, okay, 1 + 1 means I'm always powerless. And I went through a whole lot of, because, she won't tell you exactly what it means, if she's working with you, because she wants you to figure it out. And and then I realized what 1 + 1 is. And that is my will. My ego smashed my will, blends with God's will. And the gratitude started growing. It's like I looked for it. I changed. I learned all my foibles. I learned all of my things that I didn't like to look at. But I had to be honest and know they were there. I had the help of my sponsor who helped me identify those things. And then I was okay. I was grateful for that journey. And as I evolved further and further into the program, I'm here today. And in that journey, there were moments of I did that. I just would be positive and regardless. And so I just say, well, be grateful for this, Jacqui, be grateful for that. But then there was an episode. My daughter, back in 2023, actually. Oh, I didn't qualify myself. My name is Jacqui V. I am an alcoholic. I have a sponsor. And she has a sponsor. I sponsor quite a few ladies. I'm so grateful. My goodness, when you talk about the love that comes out of this program, serving others, my goodness. I came into the rooms in 2023. I was diagnosed with something called Wernicke-Korsakoff, in 2020. And Wernicke, that's extreme alcoholism. Wernicke is a reversible, and Korsakoff's not. You lose your sight. It impacts your brain. You lose your sight. I couldn't see. I couldn't walk. I was diagnosed in 2020. I still drank. Talk about cunning, baffling, and powerful. I still drank until 2023. And that's when I came into the room. And that's when I was just grateful that there might be a solution. Right? And in that journey, that day, that moment, the hope began. But I still did play the game. Right? I was, yes, grateful for the abuse, grateful for this, grateful for that. But those were just words. But I said them enough that I started believing them. There's someone I know who says, be it until you become it. And so gratitude grew in many different forms. My daughter had me put under 72-hour hold, and I was in 2023, and that was my bottom. It had nothing to do with alcohol. It had everything to do with my freedom. And there was no way I'd be grateful to her at that time. In fact, I had such a resentment, couldn't understand whatsoever why she would do something like that. And then as I was going through the steps and I got to resentments, I kind of realized, she did the best she could, right, with what I had presented her. And I was grateful. But I was grateful at that moment, realizing that she had performed a miracle for me. But I still had this little thing in the back of my mind that it wasn't done for me. I still had this thing that it was done to me. And as I grew, and so, as we grow, as I'm growing closer to my higher power, as I'm growing, this journey is such that I still held on to that. And then one day I realized in gratitude, true gratitude, that it is done for me. That's what gratitude is. Something that's done for me by my higher power, with me, guiding me, showing me. So back to self-satisfaction. So that's my qualification. That's why I'm here. And I'm glad to be here. Really glad to be here. Glad to be in this space, in this place, in this time, understanding, being grateful for knowing that the outcome's going to be well, learning how to walk the journey and living in the unknown of what the outcome's going to be. Self-satisfaction, the antidote to that is gratitude. Right? It's recognizing, Bill talked about pain and celebrating the pain. That's what I just shared about my daughter Maya. Celebrating the journey, celebrating what AA, what the first 100 have put in place to help us recover, and that is the fellowship, one alcoholic talking to another. Celebrating, running to it, not from it. And as I was in the midst for a while, I went through the typical, oh, I'm so excited about this. And, oh, well, you know what? If they were real AA, they wouldn't be doing this. There's not, in the journey, still grateful about the journey, but with all kinds, just learning through the machinations of judgment and changing my behavior and changing my attitude. There was one incident where I, again, recognized, back to the fellowship. I'm sorry. So back to the fellowship. I was judgmental in early, recovery of the fellowship, not appreciating and understanding what hearing the stories of one alcoholic, sharing the trust that you provide and give to me, and giving me your story, that precious, precious story. The gratitude came from going to meetings and listening, holding on to your heart as you're talking. It's no longer about myself, my satisfaction. It's your satisfaction in being able to tell your story that I get to be part of, get to hold on to. That's my gratitude today. That's the walk I have today. And I don't do it alone. It's the we. Just as I said, I put God beside me on this journey and talking with you. Sometimes I open the door for him to go in before me. I'm grateful that I'm not alone. Gratitude is not being alone. Self-satisfaction is. Self-reliance is for me. I'll tell you another quick story. I was traveling to Atlanta, and the person in Atlanta, gets all whopper-jawed when I'm about to travel, and I was panicked and I don't mind. If I miss a plane, I miss the plane. I get there when I get there. But this time it was really important. I think it was her birthday or something. And I was running behind, and I'm running through the airport here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I'm saying out loud as I'm running to the airport, because everything went wrong. I got there, left my phone in the car, the whole deal. Everything went wrong. So I'm saying out loud, God, if this is your will, let me make this plane. If it's your will, let me make this plane. If it's not, I'm okay with that too. If it's not, I'm okay with that too. And people, here, you got to know Louisiana, they go, amen, sister, as I'm running through. And my point of this story is, I would have been grateful whatever the outcome. I put the action in place, but I would have been grateful whatever the outcome. That's sitting in gratitude today. That's working with my fellows today. That's listening to my fellows today. That's not resting on my laurels. That's my prayer, my connection every day with my higher power in the morning. That's not missing meetings, even though there are mornings and times I don't want to, but I look for the grace of God in the meetings. I've heard the story of folks that go to meetings and they hear, someone saying something wrong, and how did they do that, and why did they do that? And he walked away and said that was an awful meeting, and he was right. And then you had someone go in with a grateful heart, with a waiting space, with a waiting peace in their heart, who heard the story, who listened to the story, who embraced the story. And when he left, he felt full of gratitude. And he was right. I choose, and I can't even say I'm saying I a lot. It's not me. It's not me. It's being as God conscious. It's God who does this through me. I just get to do it. And I'm grateful for it. I just get to be, grow, learn. And I'm grateful for it. So resting on my laurels is not an option. And I've learned that. I could get to where Bill was, forgetting the pain, forgetting his journey, looking at himself as the lead, just that self-satisfaction, just the lead of AA. And getting back to being a member. Oh, what else can I say about gratitude and the journey of such? There was a moment in this journey where I was broken open. And like I said, I can't pinpoint it. And it has to be, it's no doubt all of the journey, all of the miracles that happen with the journey. And as I say, I was broken open too. I am not it. I am Him. I am my God. And my job is to squelch this ego, to squelch the noise, to listen to the beauty of the voices, good, bad, or ugly, to listen, to embrace, because that's what my God does for me every day. And all I have to do is be open, be honest, really honest with myself, with you. God already knows when I'm about to tell a lie, so I don't even have to say that out loud. But be honest and open-minded. And it's the listening that's gotten me to this space of gratitude. All is well now means something different than, girl, let's look on the bright side. All is well because nothing's wasted in God's economy, but all is well because I have this sense of gratitude. It's not a feeling. It's a knowing that came from surrender. Surrendering everything I thought, challenging this mind, this ego, and honoring the quiet whispers, honoring the heart within, honoring, meditating, really hearing, and being grateful for the times I heard something, grateful for the times I didn't, but knowing that the plan that was designed will come. That's the gratitude I experienced today and could not get there if it weren't for the beginning. When it says that the priest here said that we're privileged people, when I heard that, I heard we're chosen people. And this is a Jacqui-ism, take it as you will. But I see Bill and Dr. Bob and the first, 100 or so and Dr. Silkworth and Dr. Young and all the people that were put in place were put in place to take these broken folks, broken me, and took these spiritual principles that you can find in many, many different religious literature. Those spiritual principles, and took these broken folks and said, follow these, experience these spiritual principles, and you will be restored to sanity. In layman's terms. In layman's terms. So are we privileged? I say we're chosen. I'm chosen. And look, I walk in my authority. I'm chosen. I was chosen to go through all that and be here to talk with you all. That's gratitude. That was done for me. That was done for my God. He knew here I'd be. And I can't say to you how grateful that feels, how grateful that experience is. I don't want to extend my welcome. And I know that I keep hearing God saying, okay, enough's now. But, I don't know if that's me seeing my clock that I still have 16 minutes. So I'm going to close because I don't want to repeat. And if I could just leave one thing that I truly garnered from this reading. I don't think I can ever not be grateful. To experience something so incredibly unknown. Can't put a word to it because it's not of this world. It's of something greater. And I love waking up in the morning. And it's not about just waking up sober. It's waking up to something greater. And I get to be part of that. And I get to walk every day, grateful for whatever happened, whatever happens that day. Because it's not about me being satisfied. It's about me being useful. Being that vessel as this chosen person, as this privileged person. And for that, I say thank you for letting me share.
Oh, thank you.